Welcome back to another video. I am so happy to be making it right now. I always say that in my opening. I feel like that should be my thing now. But yeah, so I'm so happy to be making this video. I am going to be talking about the things that I've been learning in my 20s. And I know you are looking at this video too, just wondering like what can that be? And if you're entering your 20s or you're gonna be 20 or you can't wait till you turn 20, here are some things that are very important, and I didn't think that this is what I was going to learn. And there are things that I didn't really see and I used to practice back then that I still do as well now, like so before turning 20 and then after turning 20. And it's like the best thing that you can ever do. And it's so funny because there are friends that have told me like, oh, like you were always like this, and they had just learned it like right after they turned 20. So I thought it was kind of funny. I don't know, I just never really followed people. I was always kind of like, I would do my own thing. So I wouldn't say a leader. I was not a follower. Yeah, let's just say that. So let's see. I have a couple things down, so I'm gonna be looking down, especially because I wear glasses. But I just didn't want to wear glasses for this video. I'm gonna have to get contacts because I can't. I need to see. Okay, so one of them is that I'm realizing that you don't have to have things figured out right now. There are a lot of people who don't even have their life together. They don't even work, they don't go to school, they don't do anything, right? But if even if you do one thing, even if you go to school, if you go to work, if you have a family and you're trying to better yourself, you're doing better than you think. That's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize because they feel like, oh, I need to own a home, or I need to own my own car, or I need to have $100,000 in my bank account. No, that's not how. Of course, there are people who do have all that, but don't forget, there everyone goes in their own pace, and things work out differently for everyone. Not everyone's going to experience the same success. And even if you don't experience a success now, you will experience it later on. It just takes a lot of work. And um yeah, you're not the only one. There are people who um are still trying to figure it out, and that's normal. I mean, don't beat yourself up because you feel like you don't have all those things, that you're not going anywhere. It's very important that you keep pushing, that you keep staying motivated. And that's one of the things that does run out fast. So yeah, just make sure that you keep that in mind, that everyone goes at their own pace, and we all have things destined that we're going to be achieving at our own pace and time. Now, this one was hard for me for so long, and it still is to this day. It's learning to say no to people. I was always that type of person who was always there for everyone, and if I needed someone at the moment, I never really ever reached out to anyone. I just kind of like stayed and hid it behind my own um emotions, and the emotions that I would be expressing were, they weren't like I was going through something. They were just like I was always happy, and I was always just like, if I was feeling some type of way, I would just kind of like be behind closed doors. I would just be home, and then once I was feeling better after a little while, then I would just go out and then smile again. And I was always there for everyone. I realized that saying no to things and saying no to people was a way of showing myself and others of the self-respect that I have, and for them to respect it. Even to this day, I still struggle, but I've gotten better at learning how to say no, and for them to hear it, I think they're starting to get used to it. And it's not like if someone's asking me for help, for example, oh, like I need so and so, and or can you take me here, right? Then I can still do it. But when I know I have, let's say I have an assignment due today, and if someone else needs me to do something for them that requires all day, I'm going to say no. I've learned to, I guess, prioritize my own things that I have to do rather than others and then my own. So yes, I've learned to kind of like keep myself at peace and one way is by saying no to people when it's when I have to. Three, I think this one is for me, it has to do with my skincare routine. So for my self motivation, it really does come and go. I've realized that with consistency, everything just kind of like becomes a habit. I've been loving, for example, doing my skincare, and it's not anything, it takes like 10 steps, it's only one. And one of them is using one product that I use for my face, and it removes like oils and dirt, dead skin. I realized my skin has been the best it has ever been in a very long time. My skin has been very smooth. So when I touch it, it's like, wow, it's like amazing. Like I do not feel anything. Thankfully, I've never suffered from acne. I realized that motivation comes with consistency, and consistency becomes motivation. For you to stay motivated, you have to be consistent with what you are rooting for or trying to achieve. That's where the consistency comes from and the motivation. If you do both things, right? If you stay motivated and then you do what you are rooting for, then things will just become like a thing that you will do every single day or every other day or whatever it is, right? But you keep that in mind, and that just becomes a part of you. I think that's another thing to keep in mind, and something that you learn in your 20s. This one is very, I know some people, I've heard stories of people where they feel like they're scared of being alone. And when you're in your 20s, you realize that your circle just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And in my 20s, I've met, especially now that I'm a mom, I've met so many parents, like so many moms with like their daughters, their sons, and not everyone is there to stay with you forever. The friends that I have now, they're my best friends, and they're with me. Like I talk to them here and there, not as often as before, but whenever we talk, it just feels like we never like stop talking or seeing each other. That's one thing that I've learned, that everyone just comes and goes and they're just a part of a small chapter in your life. That's one important thing that I've learned, and I'm okay with being um I wouldn't say alone, or but it's just, I don't know, it just feels nice for me at least. I love being I love having my own special, like small, peaceful environment. Like I just don't like any drama. And then I realized that whenever I start to see or feel drama, then I just kind of like step away. But yeah, that's one thing, people stay with you for a short time, not for a long time. This one is very, very important. When I started school, I was very motivated and I was working so hard on staying on top of my work. But as the semester went on, I realized that I was getting burnt out or that I was feeling so tired. There were times where I would drop off my daughter and I would be like so exhausted, and then I would go home and then go to sleep, right? But with that being said, I realized that I had to sleep. I have to get rest. And that's one thing that I didn't really do like the first month or two of my semester, of my first semester as well. And so yeah, as time went on, I realized that I had to get rest. If I can't get rest, then I can't do the rest, meaning like assignments or any tests, any chores that I had to do at home, or anything I had to do especially when it comes to driving. You have to take rest, and that was one thing that I was lacking. But now I've taken into account that I have to sleep. Even if it's a short nap, even if it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever you want, but you have to sleep. Rest is very important. This last one, it could either be six or seven. Comparing yourself to others is the worst thing that you could ever do because it will ruin your happiness. So for me, I don't think I've ever really beauty, like the way I look, I don't think I've ever compared myself to other people other than obviously my usual insecurities. But maybe I would say the point of my life, I don't feel like that, that's where I would compare myself to someone, but I try not to because I try to I know it takes a well, now in my 20s, I realize that it does take a lot of work and energy a lot of motivation and consistency. For example, for me, it would be YouTube. I know people work hard for what they've earned. So that's where I am right now. But comparing yourself to others, I feel like that's the worst thing that you can do, because when I was comparing myself to other people, like seeing them traveling, if they have their own business or home or paid off car, then that's where I kind of would be like beating myself down for, when I know it's not what I should do. So yeah, I think that's one thing that's one of the worst things that someone can do, and the one of the worst things that you can do to yourself. I'm still working on it. As you can tell, I feel like my energy went down. But yes, I'm just trying, and the way that I'm trying is by making this video right now and editing and posting it online so other people can see it. Just worry about yourself, stay in your own lane. You can look at others, but don't get distracted, because you will crash. Those are the things that I've learned in my 20s. I'm still working on them. Sorry, I'm like hitting my laptop right, my iPad right now. And so that's what I've learned in my 20s. And I hope that you take this into account and realize that in the long run, it's not worth it. Stay in your own lane and just focus on being better for you and those close to you. For me, it would be, I want to focus on myself and my daughter, and I have a goal that I want to reach. I've spoken about my goal before, and if you haven't, you should look at other videos. But yes, that's what I have for today, and thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and the most important thing ever, it's share the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.